Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Theo. As always, I'm joined by Nick, and this is the podcast, the Drafted Up Podcast. Today, we're going to dive into Week 4 previews and give you our starts of the week, and I guess we should talk about quickly the Monday night game since we recorded on Monday.
I guess we should quick touch base with those.
Yeah. But before we get started there, we're over on Twitter at draftedup_pod, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Like, rate, subscribe, review, share, tell your friends, all that good stuff. We always appreciate it. How you doing today, Nick?
Doing good. Just got done watching a movie with my buddy, and now getting ready for Thursday Night Football. Giants play, so not going to be a good night.
Yeah, we breezed through that Thursday night preview. You know, start Malik Neighbors, start Devin Singletary from the Giants side, Jake Ferguson, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb for the Cowboys. What movie did you guys watch?
Wait Until Dark. It's like 1960, 70.
Oh.
Old film for our Halloween thing coming up.
I gotcha. How was it?
Yeah, it was all right. Not a big fan of old movies, but
yeah,
it was all right.
That's a Bill
thing. It had Aubrey Hepburn in it. Yeah, it's a big Bill thing, so I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. Wasn't that bad, though.
Well, that's good. But yeah,
sure.
Monday night, Jaden Daniels, he ripped up that Cincinnati defense, and the Bengals defense is horrible. Like,
horrendous.
They're not. Sans, Trey Hendrickson, they're not generating any pressure. They need interior help. Sam Hubbard's not playing that great. The corners are doing the best they can, but it's kind of hard when you're put on an island there because you're not generating any sort of pass rush. And Jaden Daniels, 2 incompletions. Terry McLaurin had a great game. Eckler looked great. He's out with a concussion now. Yeah, because he's been playing pretty good. He looks like he still has some juice. Brian Robinson continues to play great. And then from the Bengals, like, Joe Burrow looked excellent. Like, I have no concerns with the Bengals offense. Burrow, until they get to, like, the red zone, they, like, Zach Taylor doesn't know how to call fucking red zone plays. But Burrow's looked good. He's got 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, almost 800 yards on the season. Jamar Chase had the big breakout game, which we expected. Andre Yoshibas showed off. T. Higgins was targeted, but it didn't really amount to much. But Burrow did overthrow him in the red zone there. He should have had a touchdown. And then Zach Moss. Zach Moss had a killer game. So did Chase Brown. From a real-life standpoint, really didn't produce much for fantasy, but he looked good on the field. So
he had he had what 2 catches, so he's still getting a little bit of the catch work.
He led the team in touches and rushing yards.
Yeah, so can't really go wrong with that. Zach Moss ended up getting in the end zone, so
he did.
Decent game.
Yeah. So. And then the other Monday night game, Buffalo stomped Jacksonville.
It wasn't even a game. It was over within the first quarter. Which
you sort of got on the podcast because we were talking about it. Khalil Shakir, touchdown. Keon Coleman, touchdown. Dalton Kincaid, touchdown. James Cook, touchdown. Ty Johnson, touchdown. Ray Davis, touchdown. Everybody was scoring in Buffalo.
And whoever Josh Allen wanted to get a tutty to that game, he was like, we'll get you a touchdown. Why not? We'll throw you one.
Yeah, and then the defense shut down Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a mess.
They're
abysmal. Nobody really. Brenton Strange
get that offense.
Has been there. Was their fantasy
he ended up
guy
in the end zone.
Yeah. In replace of Evan Ingram.
Do you think Evan Ingram's the missing key to all of this? Or do you just think Jacksonville is inept on offense with Doug Peterson?
A little bit of both. I think not having a safety valve per se hurts for Trevor Lawrence, but
Christian Kirk's not that.
I don't think Evan Ingram's going to change too much for this team. I just think this is a bad football team.
They're
a badly coached football team. So they got good football players.
They have good talent on the offense, and even the defense. They have a couple of good pieces. But
Trayvon Walker's finally coming into his own. Like he's looked good the last year and a half. Yeah,
Josh Allen, Hearns, or whatever his name,
Josh Hines
name
Allen.
is now.
Yeah,
he's always been pretty good. So
Tyson Campbell's great. I think he might be out though.
I believe so.
Yeah, but he's like, they have good football players. I just think it's a poorly coached team. I don't expect Doug Peterson to be there much longer.
I agree. Yeah, he's definitely on the hot seat.
All right, before we dive into our week 4, let's go starts of the week. For quarterback, I'm going Brock Purdy. San Francisco, they are playing New England. So can't imagine they're going to be passing a ton because I can't imagine this game's going to be very competitive. But I think Purdy is going to put up numbers. He is first or second in the league in passing yards right now.
Yeah, he's up there.
He looked great against the Rams, finding Jawan Jennings. I think Brandon Ayuk's going to get involved this week big time. I expect the Niners offense to show off, and I think that's going to be on the shoulders of Brock Purdy.
That's a solid pick. I'm going to go Monday night, Geno Smith versus Detroit in Detroit. They got the perfect weather in the dome, so it's not even going to be an issue. That game's going to be pretty high scoring, theoretically, on paper.
Say that about every Lions game, and it never is.
It's another one of those trap Detroit games. But this time I'm not picking Jared Goff. I'm picking the opposite guy. I'm picking Geno. So I think Seattle's going to go out there, and they're going to pass a ton. Ken Walker's still questionable. So Charbonnet's not going to get a ton of work. And if he does, it's going to be a lot of catches. He had 5 or 6 receptions last week. So whatever running back Seattle fields is going to get a ton of catches. All the receivers are in play for flex options to receivers. DK, start him in your receiver spot. And start Geno. Like, if you have Geno, you can comfortably start him this week. I'm all in on Geno.
I like that. Running back, I'm going with James Conner for Arizona. Okay. They are playing Washington. You saw what Zach Moss and Chase Brown did. Both very effective games against the Commanders. And James Conner, he's the workhorse. This is his backfield. No split work here. He's going to demand the carries. He's coming off a bad game against Detroit. He only had like 9 rushing yards. But you can't run on Detroit. You can run on Washington. You can pass on Washington. This should actually be a high-scoring game. Neither team great on defense. But I expect a huge bounce back week from James Conner. I would see him falling into the running back 1 range.
Yeah, I see that happening. That offense just flows through Conner this year, and he's going to be the key if they want to get a dub anywhere.
You saw like Kyler Murray wasn't efficient like he was 2 weeks ago when he against Detroit, and that's because they couldn't get the run game going.
I agree. My running back start of the week is from your Minnesota Vikings in a huge revenge game going into Lambeau. No, not Ty Chandler. I'm going Aaron Jones of the Minnesota Vikings this year, going back into Lambeau. First time ever playing in Lambeau against the Packers, obviously. He's having a killer season. Week 1, he finished RB9. Last week, he finished RB6. 100 yards last week, no tutties. I think he gets into the end zone, and I think he does the brand new bank vault or whatever the fuck he's calling the Lambeau Leap in Minnesota. He's a dog, dude. He brings a whole new energy to your team, and I love the fit in Minnesota. He hasn't lost a goddamn step, dude. He's killing it.
I was worried about him coming in, but he has not lost juice. He's looking healthy. He's proven us wrong, which, hey, I'm here for it because
I love it.
It's making the Minnesota offense that more efficient, which I think is what Kevin O'Connell wanted to do. He's wanted to implement like a reliable running attack, and he hasn't been able to do that since he's taken over as the coach of the Vikings. And Aaron Jones now. Even Ty Chandler has also been efficient this year. They're doing a great job there. I like that. I like that a lot, obviously.
Hey, as you should. You mentioned getting proven wrong. Like, I don't mind getting proven wrong by a guy I don't like. Like, Justin Fields is proving me wrong. It is what it is. But, like, I love Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
So, like, the fact that I doubted him this year, it bummed me out. He just didn't look the same last year. And his resurgence in Minnesota, dude, it's been amazing to watch, and I'm all on board.
You've been an Aaron Jones truther since the beginning, and I leaned more A.J. Dillon at the start of that, but I do love me some Aaron Jones.
For sure.
My start of the week at wide receiver, I'm going to that Seattle Monday night game, and I'm going with Jackson Smith and Jigba. JSN, he had a poor game against Miami, but he wasn't necessarily needed. Seattle had that wrapped up pretty quick. But look what he did 2 weeks ago. 10 catches on 16 targets, over 100 yards. And like you said, the Seahawks are going to need to pass the ball a ton to beat the Detroit Lions. I expect a huge game from Jackson Smith and Jigba this week. Detroit, terrible against receivers. That he theoretically, it should be a JSN week. We'll see if that pans out. I believe it will.
We seen it 2 weeks ago, and he had a huge week that week. A little dud last week, but I'm all in on JSN at this point. My receiver of the week is a guy that's had a bit of a dud the last 2 weeks, finishing receiver 49 and wide receiver 84 last week. That's a bad week.
84. Rough.
It's going to be crazy, the name I bring up, though. It's Mike Evans. He had a dud 2 weeks, but week 1, he looked amazing. He had 2 tutties. I think he's going to have a huge bounce-back game versus Philly. Their secondary's weak. I think Baker definitely finds a way to get Evans into the end zone. Like, I would lock in a Mike Evans touchdown for sure this week.
Yeah,
I think he's going to have a great game. Philly can't stop the pass. They did it last week versus New Orleans, but Chris Olave still had a huge week. So I expect the same amount of Evans and Godwin. Shaheed obviously dud, but he's not Godwin or Evans. These two guys are elite. They're going to go out there and they're going to get theirs for sure versus that Philly secondary.
Yeah, I know Mike Evans has been dealing with a knee issue too, so that could fall into what's been going on here the last 2 weeks of him. Plus, it's been a real heavy Chris Godwin involvement. He's already got 3 touchdowns on the year, which isn't his shtick. So eventually the pendulum will swing back to Evans. Baker Mayfield loves that guy, and it wouldn't surprise me if it is this week. He likely gets paired up with Darius Slay, and Slay's been beatable. So we'll see. I do like Mike Evans this week. I like a lot of the Bucs, and we'll get into that game here shortly.
So we can tune in next week to see if Nick picks the receiver going up against Philly as his start of the week.
All right, tight end. My tight end start of the week is Brock Bowers. No, I'm kidding. It is Cole Kmet. Kmet he was a top 3 tight end last week. The Bears were passing a ton on Indianapolis. And, it doesn't look like Keenan Allen's going to play. He was limited in practice. He did get a practice in, but it looks like he's gearing towards out. And the Rams can't stop the pass either, so I would expect Caleb to get another big passing game this week, and I expect Cole Kmet to be the safety valve that Keenan Allen usually is. But I do like Kmet this week. He's had some juice here the last 2 weeks, finishing in the top 10 for both of them. So if you got Cole Kmet, and you got one of those weaker tight ends or one of the injured boys, I like Kmet this week. I'd slide him into the lineup.
Yeah, there's no really for sure lock when it comes to the tight ends this year. Like, I get you want to start the bigger name guys, but these guys are rarely finishing top 12, 10. So they're not tight end ones. So I get starting guys like Cole Kmet was drafted, but not really to be a starting tight end. And it seems to pan out the last 2 weeks. My start of the week at tight end is my sleeper tight end, well, not sleeper, but my tight end I was high on all offseason. It's Kyle Pitts versus New Orleans. Everyone and their mother seen what Dallas Goedert did to New Orleans last week. 10 for 170 with Philly. So I'm not saying Kyle Pitts is doing that, but New Orleans can't stop the tight ends. Atlanta is looking healthier and healthier every week. So just start getting Kyle Pitts the ball. Like, you guys promised you were going to use him at receiver. That hasn't fucking happened. So stop lying to us. Get this guy out here. Start stretching the field with him. We know what Kyle Pitts can do. We've seen it this rookie year. We've seen it flashes here and there throughout since then. So here it comes, baby. This is the chance.
Yeah. My biggest fear with Pitts is the majority of his production this year has been off just broken plays. But
oh, yeah, for sure.
Atlanta does need to get their big guys going. Bijan, who's been fine, but not what you drafted in the B. Kyle Pitts as well. Same with Drake London. Get these guys going. Like, Darnell Moody's been like the bright spot of this team in terms of outproducing his.
Yeah, London's looked all right the last 2 weeks.
He has.
But Bijan he's underperformed a little bit. So if that continues for another 2 weeks and the Bijan owner is a little bit tired of it, just not getting his ceiling, try to swoop in there for Bijan.
It's a good floor, though.
Oh, he's great. He's an RB1. You can lock him in there for sure.
Yep. All right, let's start these games. First up on the docket, the Denver Broncos travel to New York, and they face off against the New York Jets. The Jets, is this a pretty disrespectful 7.5-point favorites over the Broncos, who got their first win last week. They stomped Tampa Bay. Over under of 39.5. These are two decent defenses. How do you feel about Garrett Wilson this week? He's going up against Patrick Surtain. So it's tough. Like, can you bench Garrett Wilson? Like,
he's not bench worthy, but if he's a flex option this week for sure. I don't think he's going to finish a receiver 2. I don't think he's going to finish top 24. He's been a little bit slow per se all season. He's finished wide receiver 29, 33, 29. So he hasn't even been a wide receiver 2 all year. And now we're getting Surtain on him. So I'm still comfortably putting him in the flex just based off of the Jets have looked better each week. So at some point, Garrett Wilson's going to have this huge breakout game. It's not going to come this week, but he's still going to get you a nice 4 points. It's not going to be a pretty week for Garrett Wilson at all.
Yeah. Him or my start of the week, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
I would still lock in Garrett Wilson.
Okay. Obviously you're starting Breece Hall. That guy's superstar. Braylon Allen, how are we feeling about? He's been getting more and more involvement. I don't know if I'd start him yet, but
I wouldn't start him yet. He's only got 32% of snaps last week. The week before that was 33. So I want a little bit more, like 42%. So like 10% more snaps would be ideal. And that's not going to happen this week, especially versus Denver, I don't think. But he's a guy to keep an eye on for sure if you could plug him into your flex. If he keeps getting...
I was going to say, I think he's
productive
approaching flex territory.
I agree. He's getting close.
Because the Jets are clearly getting involved. I like Tyler Conklin, too, this week. I considered him for my tight end of the week. Denver struggled against Cade Otton. He had a nice game, whether that was garbage time or not, last week. And then Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington had good games against Denver. So tight end seems to be a weak spot for this defense. So I do like Tyler Conklin as the second option behind Garrett Wilson.
4 last week.
Yeah. 4 for 93. Had a nice game. I'm not starting Lazard. I feel like he's a trap.
No.
Same with Mike Williams. I don't even think Mike Williams is worth rostering at this point.
No, Mike Williams is the guy, and when he gets healthy, though, like fully healthy, like obviously keep an eye on. Yeah, if you can get him a week or two, if he's on waivers, don't pick him up this week or next. But at some point, get a jump on it. Because when he's healthy, he's taking Lazard's job. Like Lazard, he was huge week 1, and he had a tutty last week, I believe. Yeah,
that shirt full touchdown.
He's a huge touchdown dependent guy. Like he was 3 for 48 otherwise. That's only 7 points in a full PPR league. Yeah. Without that tutty, it's not worth it.
Yeah. So comfortably starting Breece Hall.
For sure.
Cool with Tyler Conklin. And you're not going to bench Garrett Wilson, but
no.
Set the bar low for him. I don't think Rodgers is worth starting either. And then Denver, nobody. Like Cortland Sutton's going to get Sauce Gardner. He looked all right against Tampa. Like they were targeting him.
Mm-hmm.
The Denver backfield is nauseating. Like I'm not putting Javonte or Jaleel McLaughlin in my lineup.
No.
I don't even want to roster Jaleel McLaughlin, and I'm almost on to that point with Javonte Williams too, where he's not worth rostering.
Javonte's right around the corner of not even being worth it. Sutton, 2 out of the 3 games this year has had more than 10 targets. So like the targets might end up being there versus New York, but they're not going to be good. They're going to be short, dink and dunk targets. He might end up getting a decent catch for like 20, 30 yards. So like Sutton, I think his ceiling's like 5 for 60.
Sutton's a guy I would target in trades. I would go out and throw, a small nothing offer, because I doubt Sutton owners are too attached to him at this point that they'd be willing to move him for almost nothing. I'm going with the Jets here, though. I don't think they cover 7.5. I think this is going to be a closer game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
I agree. It's screaming Pittsburgh Chargers vibes last week. I think the Jets offense is obviously better than both of those other teams' offense, but Denver's right there with like horrendous offenses. So I'm going to Jets for sure.
Yeah. All right, next up, the Minnesota Vikings travel to Green Bay, and they take on the Packers. The Packers are 3-point favorites, an over-under of 44 points. It looks like Jordan Love's going to play.
He was limited at practice, so he's practicing more.
If he doesn't play, I'm in the same boat that I've been in the last 2 weeks with the Packers. I am comfortable playing Jaden Reed, but he is someone in my flex. But he's someone I would, if I had a better option on my bench, I'm taking him out. And Josh Jacobs is a lock, but he's going to have a tough game. Minnesota's been great at stopping the run. And that's it from Green Bay. If Jordan Love's back, I'm playing Jordan Love if I don't have a better option. And I'm starting Jaden Reed comfortably. And I don't think I'm touching any of the other receivers.
Jaden Reed is a lot, dude. His ceiling here with Malik Willis is wide receiver 42. That's his high right now. Like he finished wide receiver 53 and then 42. So like he's a low end flex spot for me. Like I would try not to start this guy. You guys have an elite defense. Like you guys have been
not at corners though.
Yeah, I get that, but you guys have been stopping Everett. You stopped San Fran passing. You stopped Houston, who has 3 elite receivers. So like you guys are out here stopping big name receivers, and Malik Willis is their quarterback. I don't trust Jaden Reed versus your defense.
Well, Dairyland Debo, Jaden Reed. Debo Samuels ripped up the Vikings. He was 8 for 110.
Yeah, with an elite offense and quarterback, and
I'm saying like he that's the style of receiver that Minnesota has struggled against. Like Steph Diggs had a bunch of underneath work, and that's Jaden Reed's role in this offense. Whereas like I'm fine starting him in the flex. Like I said, if I had a better bench player, I would start him. Like I would start my start of the week Jackson Smith and Jigba over Jaden Reed.
100%. I don't have a list of people in front of me.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of where I'd set the line. Like I'd start him over Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman's almost not rosterable at this point.
I would probably start him over DJ Moore. Like I think that's where I draw the line.
Not. I think DJ Moore's going to have a huge game. I think he had like 8 catches for 80 yards last week. Like Jaden Reed's not going to get that with Malik Willis. Now, if Jordan Love is the quarterback, you start Jaden Reed. It's not even a question.
Like Zay Flowers, I think I'd start him over Zay Flowers too. I think that might be the line.
No,
Zay Flowers.
I trust Lamar. I trust Lamar.
Okay. I trust Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, me too. But wide receiver 43 is not something to really. Oh, he's like it's risky to start him with Malik Willis.
But Willis has now played 2 weeks, so it's a comfort thing. He's going to be more comfortable. Eventually, Jaden Reed's going to break the 44, but our defense has struggled against receivers. Like Jaden Reed.
You guys blitz all the time. Malik Willis cannot read that. It's coming from every which angle.
Which I think makes Jaden Reed more, because that would just be a dump right to him. Like Jaden Reed could be like an ugly 10-catch game for 65 yards. Good
God, no. I think his ceiling is receiver 43. Like his ceiling is what he's been with Malik Willis.
I think it would get better. I don't think Malik Willis is playing though at all.
Well, yeah, I agree. If Jordan Love starts, you start Jaden Reed. If Malik Willis though, I personally would not start him versus Minnesota.
The Vikings though, I think you're starting all your offensive. You're starting Aaron Jones, obviously your start of the week. Justin Jefferson's a lock. Is he playing? I haven't heard anything on Jordan Addison.
He's playing.
Is he? No.
He was limited today. I'm pretty sure he's lined up to play.
I would expect him to be on a pitch count, but I would not start Jordan Addison. Just because he just doesn't stay on the field. I don't know. The bad vibes on Jordan Addison, but I was gonna say if he didn't play, I would have been fine throwing a Hail Mary at Jalen Nailor. Even if Addison plays, like I would still keep an eye on Naylor's involvement still going forward. He's had a touchdown in every game. Mm-hmm. He's 4th in the NFL in separation this year. Like Jalen Naylor's a good football player, and this team has loved him. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy, and now he finally is. Addison not this week. I'd sit.
I agree.
Wait, I'd start Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold's a good streaming start.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the Vikings defense, I'd be comfortable starting them as well. They're one of the best defenses in fantasy football.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't start Addison. I think you ease him back into the offense. Nailor, if he gets a touchdown, you're happy.
Addison or Jaden Reed?
Jaden Reed. Addison hasn't played at all. Now because 2 weeks Love's still going to be playing, so it's not even going to be it's not even a question. Obviously start Aaron Jones. He's my running back of the week. And like you said, Sam Darnold, he's been amazing this year. He's been a top 12 QB every week except week 1 where he was QB 14 and you guys killed us. So he didn't really have to go out there and pass down, but he still had 2 tutties. So this game's going to be a hard fought football game in general. It's division. It's Green Bay. It's in Lambeau. This game's going to be huge and there's a lot riding on it. If you guys walk out of this with a dub, you guys are for sure the favorite in this division. With this defense, dude, it's been crazy.
I am looking forward to seeing how Matt LaFleur schemes the offense against this defense. Matt LaFleur has been a wizard with this offensive crew here in Green Bay. Like he's made Malik Willis look competent in 2 weeks, whereas Tennessee couldn't do that for a season and a half. So, Brian Flores is coaching his way into a potential head coaching job next year. I'm obviously picking the Vikings.
Between Philly, Indy, and Tennessee, none of those defenses even compare to what the fuck Minnesota's putting out on the field this year. Minnesota's defense is a whole different fucking ball game this year. It's insane. You guys are blitzing from everywhere. You're stopping the pass and the run. Like I'm picking Minnesota, but you guys have been so much fun to watch defensively.
Yeah, both these teams might be the best two coached football teams in the NFL, besides the Chiefs.
Yeah, San Fran and the Rams are up there. Both those teams are literally dead. Like the Rams more so than San Fran.
Which, O'Connell, LaFleur, they all come
they're all the same.
The McVay tree.
Yeah.
And then, like, O'Connell's also, like, he learned under Belichick, too, with Brian. So did Brian Flores. So he's got a branch there. But, yeah, I'm picking Minnesota. I'm going to be a homer. I'm not going to pick against my team. But
I'm also picking Minnesota just based off of if Love plays, it's his first game back. There's going to be a little bit of soreness on that.
Oh, I think they blitz more if Jordan Love plays.
I agree. Well, I think you guys are blitzing more than your percent regardless. The blitz is going to get to Malik Willis a lot, and it's going to eat him alive.
Next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Indianapolis, and they take on the Colts. The Steelers are 1.5-point favorites on the road. Over under
baby.
Of 40. Yeah, the 3-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're going to make Anthony Richardson's day a nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. We're going to see every single flaw that dude has this week, and it's going to be glorious, I think. Hey, man, I hope the guy goes out there and proves me wrong, but I'm sorry. I don't think that's going to happen versus Pittsburgh's D. I think TJ Watt's going to literally eat this man for breakfast, lunch, and dinner on Sunday.
I'm only starting Jonathan Taylor from the Colts side, and I don't even want to start him, but you're not benching Johnny Taylor.
No, you start Jonathan Taylor, and it's going to be a Garrett Wilson day. It's going to be rough.
Yeah.
He might end up with a ton of catches just based off of Anthony Richardson doesn't know what to do with the ball, and he has to get it out of his hands.
Yep.
I'm not starting any Indy receiver until Anthony Richardson can prove to me he can consistently complete passes.
Mm-hmm.
Pittman's targets are garbage. Josh Downs just came back. Pierce is a big play threat. That's not really worth it. And Anthony Richardson can't hit A.D. Mitchell if he's standing 2 feet fucking in front of the guy. That dude should have 4 touchdowns on the year, and Anthony Richardson can't complete a goddamn fucking pass. I hate this guy.
Him with Mitchell, it's so weird because every time I've seen him throw to Pierce, they've been perfect. They just can't hit Anthony Rich or hit A.D. Mitchell.
And Pierce is triple covered.
Yeah,
and then A.D. Mitchell's wide open 10 yards ahead of any all defensive threat, and Richardson air mails this ball into the fans. Like, who the fuck are you throwing the ball to, dude?
I really wish Michael Pittman had big play capabilities, because then I'd be so in on him, but like he just doesn't fit with Richardson right now. No. Pittsburgh, I think this is a big George Pickens week. I considered him for my start of the week. I think this is going to be the week he blows up. I think it's going to be Justin Fields' best passing performance of the season. Indy's defense is horrible. I also like Najee Harris. Jalen Warren might not be playing.
I love Najee
if he does
this
play,
week.
He's banged up, which means Cordell Patterson and him are just going to be splitting the backup work. I think it's going to be a big Najee game. Indy can't stop the run. I think Pittsburgh covers this 1.5 spread. I think they crush Indianapolis.
Yep. I don't know if they're going to crush them, but their defense is going to make this not enjoyable for Indy. It's going to be a rough 4 hours. Najee's going to have a huge game. Hopefully, I hope he gets into the end zone as a Najee owner. I went up to the guy that has George Pickens today. I work with him, a little bit of the insight. I walked up to him, I'm like, hey, man, how you feeling about George Pickens? And he goes, he's been doing all right for me. I'm like, man, if you want to dip Pickens, come knocking. Like, I'll take Pickens.
It's funny because on my car ride down today to take Ash to work, I was just like, who's George Pickens? I kind of want to because I've been trying to figure out trades in my head of guys I want to target. And I realized it was him, and I'm just like, he's so hard to make a deal with.
Yes, he is.
K-Dog, I'm talking to you, brother. We've been sending deals back and forth today. We haven't got anywhere yet though on any sort of trades. So Pittsburgh, I like Justin Fields as a streamer this week at quarterback. I think George Pickens has wide receiver 1 potential this week. Keep an eye on Calvin Austin. He had a big game last week. We'll see if that continues.
I agree. He had 4 for 90.
I think Freiermuth is fine if you're in a pinch for tight end.
He's a super safe floor guy. He's going to get you 7 points.
Yeah. All right. Philadelphia travels to Tampa Bay. The Eagles are 1.5 point favorites on the road here against the Bucs. Over under of 43. Your start of the week, Mike Evans against a weak Eagles secondary.
Yep.
I like that. I like Godwin this week.
Love it.
I might be in on Rachaad White too. Bucky Irving is hurt. He's got a hamstring thing. He might not be playing on Sunday, which means we don't have to worry about Rachaad White's workload going away at all. So it could be another inefficient, great fantasy day for Rachaad White. But
yeah, he's been super inefficient, but I would actually start White regardless, even if Bucky Irving was playing. If he was healthy, I'd start White this week.
But you don't have the fear of him having his ceiling being cut off.
Yeah, I benched White in the league last week personally, but this week I would lock him in as a starter versus Philly's defense. They stopped Kamara last week, and they are pretty similar when it comes to catch-wise, and he is way more inefficient than Kamara. So there is a chance he just duds this game.
He is the most inefficient running back.
He's looked bad, dude. He's looked really
except
bad.
for DeAndre Swift. I see the
this
Bears
year
are coming up
sure.
here. Yeah, he's looking like tiny Trent Richardson. We'll get to that.
I didn't think we'd be talking about Trent Richardson on a podcast in 2024, dude.
No.
Let me dig through my jerseys and pull out a Trent Richardson jersey real quick, brother.
I just happen to be like watching Bears stuff, and I'm just like, dude, this guy's just like running into it. Like, what is he Trent Richardson in?
Yeah.
But Philly's more interesting though, because it doesn't look like Devonta Smith's going to play. It doesn't look like
he's not going to play. He hasn't practiced.
So hello Saquon Barkley and hello Dallas Goedert.
Yes, sir.
Tight end 1 right now on the year.
That's insane.
I considered him for my start of the week, but
as did I.
It's Dallas Goedert, and he can come out here. Now he's the guy. He might just pull the Dallas Goedert trick and dud on you for a 4 for 20.
It's very likely.
Yeah, but how are you feeling about Philly's offense in this game without all the pieces?
As someone who has preached Philly constantly, and all of our listeners know I'm very heavy on Philly's offense this year, fantasy-wise. I have Hurts, and I have my start of the week, Geno Smith, on my bench. And as of right now, I have Hurts in. Come Sunday, it might be a different story, dude.
Okay.
I'm really worried without Smith. Like, without Brown already, it's already a whole different ballgame. Like, Philly's offense is completely different without A.J. Brown. And now you take out Devontae Smith. They're gonna double stack Goddard. Who are you gonna throw the ball to? Barkley. Okay, Barkley can't do everything. You're gonna have to get Dotson involved. You're gonna have to get Johnny Wilson involved. You're gonna have to get Paris Campbell involved. And those are 3 names I don't think they can get involved. They haven't used them at all.
No.
So it really works. I think Hurts can luck out with a bunch of rushing yards, and that's what's really keeping me in on Hurts this week. I think him and Saquon could both have multiple rushing touchdowns. So I'm fine with like the big guys like Hurts, Barkley, Goddard. And like deep leagues, if you want to take a shot at one of these receivers, I call your shot. I don't know who the fuck you're calling though.
Yeah, I'd be fine taking on DFS, maybe throwing something out for Jahan Dotson. So I imagine he's going to be the one here. He's finally.
I'm blanking on that guy's name. What's that little white guy they got? He's like their punt returner.
Oh, Britton Covey.
He always. I don't know what he did last week, but this first week AJ Brown was out, he had a ton of catches, dude. Like, and they were all garbage catches, but they weren't using Dotson, they weren't using Wilson, they were using this guy. So I don't have his stats from last week in front of me. So as long as he was targeted a little bit, I'm taking a shot on that guy, I guess.
Yeah, Britton Covey. Last week, Covey was. I don't have a game log. Where'd the game log go?
This guy's killing me.
Yeah, sorry,
podcasting, folks.
But yeah, no, I'm the Eagles.
This guy
starters.
Just can't search a name.
I know I'm on it. I just can't find the game log. It's just giving me his punt return stuff, and I don't want that.
I don't know this guy's name.
Like, it's just like refusing to give me his offensive numbers. It's just here's his punt return work. But no, Eagles starters, I'm in on them. I think they're fine. He had 1 target for 11 yards.
That's concerning.
Yeah. Hurts, I understand the concern, but I think with the rushing upside, he's going to bank off and pay off for you. I think Barkley's a superstar. You got nothing to worry about.
Barkley's RB1. Barkley is RB1 on the year.
the Bucks can't stop the run. This is going to be a big Saquon game, and like I said, I would take a DFS flyer on Jahan Dotson. I wouldn't start him in a regular redraft weekly lineup, but a DFS, sure, I'll throw if I stack up on heavy price guys, and I'll take Jahan Dotson, who's practically free. Dallas Goedert thinks a fine start. He's going to get the targets because there's nobody else there in this offense.
You have to start Goddard. After last week, like you'd be a fool to have Goddard on your bench, just based off that there's no other options pass wise besides Barkley on this team. So,
who you got here?
Philly. I think it's going to be a revenge game of the playoffs last year, and I'm still high on Philly. So I just want to pick them just to back my talking of Philly all season. I don't want to pick them. I think the Bucks are going to win, but here we go picking Philly.
I'm also picking Philly.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Todd Bowles is that good of a coach.
Oh,
head coach, great defensive coach. I don't think Nick Sirianni's a good coach either. I think this game it could be ugly, but I think the Eagles will squeak one out, and I think it'll just be because of Saquon Barkley, just like last week.
There's a lot of talent in this game that I personally love. Like I love Mike Evans. I love Barkley. I love Hurts. I love Baker. Like I hope this game's amazing, but it could very easily dud just like Philly New Orleans. Like I was super high on that game, and that game was a fucking shit show. So who knows?
All right, next up, the second highest over-under for the week. The Cincinnati Bengals travel to the Carolina Panthers, an over-under of 47. The Bengals are 4.5-point road favorites, the winless Cincinnati Bengals. Revenge game, air quote that, because I don't think Andy Dalton actually hates the Bengals. I think they left on good terms. But Andy Dalton coming in, playing his old team. I'm smashing Deontay Johnson this week for the Panthers. No Adam Thielen. The Bengals couldn't stop us at this point because of the lack of pass rush. I think Deontay Johnson, bet is over on his yards. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a touchdown again this week. I think he's a great play. I also like Chuba Hubbard this week as well for Carolina. Andy Dalton's also, if you're desperate for a stream quarterback, I'd be fine going Andy Dalton. But I'm locked in.
Andy Dalton was very, very close to my start of the week. I'm not even going to lie. He had a huge game last week. We had 3 tutties. He was the only quarterback in the NFL so far to do that this season until Burrow did it Monday night.
Yep.
And now we got them both in this game. I think both these guys are going to have huge passing performances. Like Cincinnati can't stop dog shit. Like they're terrible defensively.
This is a must-win game for the Bengals.
100%. And it's almost a trap game. Like Carolina looked legitimately last week versus a really good defense. The Raiders have a really good defense. That's the only thing they have going. They have that. Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers shut down. But
yeah, they did a great job.
I'm picking the Bengals just because I don't see them physically going 0-4.
No, there's too much talent on this team for that to happen.
But there is a chance that Andy Dalton could pull this off.
Yeah, Dave Canales finally got to show what Dave Canales can do as a coach. Like, give him a competent quarterback, and he can do wonders. And Andy Dalton right now is a competent quarterback. Bryce Young is still developing. Like, Bryce Young shouldn't have been Hubbard. Yes, yeah, I'm comfortable. I agree. The Bengals were getting ripped up by Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler, and I think Chuba's looked good the last 2 weeks. He's been getting all the work. I think he is a great flex play this week. I think he could even be an RB2.
I agree. I personally went out and I picked up Xavier Legette.
I was going to bring up Watch Legette. I wouldn't start him, but with Thielen out, I expect his involvement to be more. And I still think Legette's a superstar. I don't care that he was a slow start in college. I think he's got something. He's got it. He's got juice. He's big play, big body type guy. But if it's not him, it would be Johnny Mingo. And I guess keep an eye on him, like second round pick. Let him develop into something. Bengals, though, I'm starting the receivers. Obviously, Jamar Chase. Yeah, I'm starting T. Higgins. I even consider Yoshi Boss in the flex. Like he's
a flex guy at this point. 2 touchdowns 2 weeks ago and a touchdown last week.
Leads the team in touchdowns with 3. He's been rock solid. He's keeping your boy Jermaine Burton off the field.
Jermaine Burton's also keeping Jermaine Burton off the field. He's been an idiot when it comes to locker room stuff. Yeah. So that's also been an issue.
I'm also starting Zach Moss.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm comfortably starting Zach Moss for sure. He had a touchdown last week. He had 20 points in our home league. So I'm cool with Zach Moss. Chase Brown, I'm not really starting. He only had 24% of snaps last week. He finished RB 32. So that is flex territory, but I don't see that happening again. I think the pass work's going to be too involved.
No. Excuse me.
This guy's dying.
Yeah, I am. Too big of a gulp of water.
For our people just listening through headphones, TJ's currently dying.
Yeah, I did mute my mic because it was a big cough.
I figured I didn't hear you. I'm like, this guy either froze or he's fucking.
I'm choking. No, I would keep an eye on Chase Brown. I expect his involvement to get more and more here and here, but it could also be a game script situation for him. But he was more efficient than Moss last week, but Moss got the touchdown. Moss also got more passing work, which is weird because Chase Brown
had like 5 catches.
Yeah,
you love seeing that.
So,
yeah,
but keep an eye. Brown's a guy I would keep an eye on, stash him, but start your Bengals.
I picked him off of waivers in a couple weeks. Just to have just in case.
I think the Bengals win this game though.
I agree. I picked. What
about Mike Gesicki? They're still targeting him, but
they are. But I think this is the full week. T. Higgins is back. Last week was just like he's back. He's kind of back. This week T. Higgins is back.
I agree.
It's versus Carolina secondary that's not good.
Yeah.
At some point, Gesicki's going to be phased out of this offense. Like Cincinnati regularly doesn't use their tight ends, and Gesicki's just not that.
And when
talented.
they do, they use them all. Eric Alston getting work, and I love seeing that.
Hell yeah, they go like 3 deep.
Good to see him healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
Both going Cincinnati. Did you say you're picking them?
Yep, going Cincinnati.
Jacksonville Jaguars travel to Houston to take on the Texans. Texans are 6.5-point home favorites over under a 45.5 points. So Houston's winning this game 45-0, judging by that over under. I'm kidding, but
Tank Dell's out.
Tank Dell is looking like he's not going to play. Joe Mixon also looks like he's not going to play.
Yep.
Smash start Nico Collins. I think he's going to destroy the Jaguars.
Same with Steph Diggs.
Been playing good, especially PPR.
Steph Diggs is great.
Yeah, Diggs still has juice. It's good to see. Cam Akers, I would consider it. But
I was fine starting Cam Akers last week versus Minnesota.
Yeah.
And that was they're a great run defense. Jacksonville is great at nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm starting every Texan that's going to start this game.
Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, tight ends are horrendous. I would comfortably start. You know what? Dalton Schultz. I've started him. I said it last week about Dallas Goedert, and look how it turned the fuck out.
Dalton Schultz hasn't broke more than 6 points this year in PPR.
I get it, but how many tight ends have?
Yeah.
So
maybe he could easily slide into the Tank Dell role here and end up.
Yeah, he had 5 targets last week, so that's fine enough to start tight end wise. Tight ends.
What about Jacksonville? Trevor Etienne. You're starting him.
Starting him. You have to.
Are you starting any of the receivers? Gabe Davis missed practice, so Brenton Strange. How do you feel about him if Evan Ingram doesn't play?
I've started him 2 weeks in leagues. I have Evan Ingram. He had a really good first week, and then last week the touchdown saved him. He only had 2 catches besides the tutty. I'm cool starting Brian Thomas Jr. He had 14 points week 1, 13 week 2, and then almost 10 week 3. So he's like a good flex guy. He's going to get you close to 10 points, and I'm cool with that. And he might get a tutty.
If he gets a big play, he's golden.
He's the touchdown option receiver wise out of this group of guys.
And Houston, you can beat over the top. Justin Jefferson had a 96. No, that was against San Fran.
That was San Fran.
97-yard. But
Jefferson had a crazy first half versus Houston.
Yeah. So they're beatable in the secondary. So if you can take a deep shot or something, Doug Peterson, just call Brian Thomas Jr.'s number. Send him on a deep route and just fucking let Trevor Lawrence chuck it to this dude. And if he doesn't catch it or he overthrows or whatever, so what? You took a shot. That's what this offense isn't doing. This offense isn't taking any risks.
I think at least 3 to 4 times a game, they need to be taking a deep shot to Gabe Davis or Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which one of these. Both guys are elite deep option, ball trackers. That's what these guys do. They're really good at separating deep and then getting the ball at high points.
Yeah.
Throw the ball 50 yards to this guy and see what happens. They can get pass interference and then you get the ball at the fucking goal line.
Yeah.
Just start opening up this offense.
Doug Peterson's playing this offense like they're a good football team, like Kansas City. They don't stretch the field. Yeah. They have a low EPA and yards per attempt, but they're a great football team.
Who's Doug Peterson coached under?
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid.
But
he's running his team like Andy Reid would run a team.
He doesn't have the personnel to do it. Yeah,
I get that, but that's what he does.
But Andy Reid ran the Chiefs differently when they had a fucking deep threat like Tyreek Hill.
Hey, but Andy Reid's an elite coach.
You're
Doug
right.
Peterson knows one thing, and that's what he does, and that's how he's really good his first year because he brings in this Andy Reid system, and then he just doesn't know how to follow through with it.
It doesn't improve. And you got 2 field stretchers in Gabe and BTJ, and you're just not utilizing them properly.
You're not even using Christian Kirk at this point. No, and that's crazy, dude.
This team's
the whole offense is just wonky.
Like it's to the point where like people hate Trevor Lawrence, and like I don't think it's a Trevor Lawrence issue. Like sure, it might play a part in it, but I still think Trevor Lawrence is a top 15 quarterback. I just think his coaching is horrible. Like he had Urban Meyer, and that was a disaster. And now
the Urban Meyer season doesn't even count.
And now
that season was a wash.
And now with freaking Doug Peterson, it's just not working. It's been abysmal. Get like a legitimate. Like I think Jacksonville needs to bring in a defensive coach, and then bring in an elite play caller.
I'm very anti-defensive head coach in the new NFL. I want my whole team to be ran McVay style. I want it all offense heavy.
Bring in steal Brian Flores from Minnesota, and then steal Minnesota's offensive coordinator Wes Phillips. Because Kevin O'Connell called the plays in Minnesota. I think he would let Wes Phillips, or steal Keenan McCardell back. Let him be the offensive coordinator in Jacksonville. Roll the show. Jacksonville. Do something. You're an embarrassment to this franchise. Like, it's disgusting. Houston's going to kill them.
Yes. It's not going to be pretty. Like, I don't know what happened to Jacksonville. Like, last season, they were a legitimate 1-seed candidate. They were 7-1. They work amazing. And then they have just been utter shit since then. Trevor Lawrence is what, like 2-8 in his last 10? Some shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
That's bad. That's real fucking bad, dude. Yeah. And I get it's not him, but a lot of it does fall back on the quarterback. And unfortunately, that's how football is looked at. And a lot of it is Doug Peterson and the coaching staff. But Trevor Lawrence hasn't lived up to any bit of his number 1 overall pick.
No. Rams travel to Chicago. The Bears are 3-point favorites at home, over under 41. The reports are coming out that Roschon Johnson's going to get a heavier workload here going forward.
I think that's the right move.
Hey, Chicago, just do what you did last year that somehow worked. Play Khalil Herbert, play Roschon Johnson, because DeAndre Swift is not it.
I agree. Roschon is just a huge locker room guy. Like all these reports when he was coming out with Bijan, like it was never a problem that he was the number 2 option behind Bijan. No. He understood it, and he was like a weight room guy. He was like friends with everybody. He brought this like energy to the locker room, and that was always said about him coming out. Like whenever he gets on a team, they're gonna keep him, and he's gonna work his ass off. And that time is now. Like this is your opportunity to be the Bears RB1 for the rest of the year. Take the ball, fucking run with it. I would love to see Roschon shine here.
Yeah. Like I get it. Some of it is the offensive line. The offensive line is bad, but DeAndre Swift has enough juice that he can take the corner and break a run, but he's just not seeing anything. Like Roschon Johnson is a bigger, better version of DeAndre Swift at this point. If he's out there in your leagues, he's a guy you should be targeting. Like if he's still available, go get him, because if the Bears can get a running game going, it's just going to make Caleb Williams' life easier. We've seen what Caleb Williams can do in that garbage time versus the Colts. Like, he was just throwing it like no care in the world, and he was hitting.
Yeah, teams know that the Bears can't run, and they have the worst like the worst pass protective offensive line in football. Like, Caleb Williams is getting body bagged every single week.
The Rams also have a bad line.
Yeah,
what a day here. Both defenses.
Like, the Rams are very lucky they have Matt Stafford. Like, Matt Stafford is able to deal with the pressure. Like Caleb Williams is still a rookie. He's only been in 3 NFL games. So it's hard for him to see all this. But a bad offensive line affects the quarterback way more than it does the running back. Like, yeah, it affects the running back, but look at all of Barkley's years in New York. Like, he was still able to produce when he was healthy. Swift he's looking like a blind man running back there. Like, he can't find a hole. Like he can't hit a hole. And he's not explosive. I don't know what happened to Swift. Like, he's always been explosive and very efficient. And now he's just looking clunky and not efficient. He's looking like Trent Richardson.
Maybe he just wanted a payday, and he got it.
Hey, man. And if that's what it comes down to, hey man, good on you. You got your bag.
Got your bag, but damn, dude, you did the Bears dirty. Which
you did. You did them real dirty. But hey
I,
man, I'm not starting any of the Bears running backs, obviously, but just keep an eye out on Broshan. Whoever's getting the targets, keep an eye out on.
Yeah, you're starting DJ Moore.
100% starting. I think DJ Moore has a huge week.
I would start Roman Dunze too. He had a good game last week. I would chase
he's
those
a flex option. I'd be fine with it.
And I'm cool with Cole Kmet as well. From the Rams, I think I'm just starting Kyren Williams. I don't want to play the receiving game with the Rams, try to figure out which one it's going to be. Like, sure, Demarcus Robinson's playing over 90% of the snaps, and he's getting targets, but like it's just not working.
I think I'm cool taking a flyer on Tutu Atwell in the flex this week.
Okay. Even though he's only been getting like 40% of the snaps, but I guess all of his stuff
played on 74
designed.
last week. He played on 74% of the snaps. Last week was his big game back. He had 5 targets. He brought in 4 for 93. He finished wide receiver 33. I'm not starting any of the other ones. I get DeAndre Robinson, Demarcus Robinson is on the field for a bunch of like snaps, 90% each game.
Mm-hmm.
He had 1 catch last week. Like he's gone down each week. He had 4 week 1, 3 week 2, 1 week 3, and there's no one on the field. He is the beneficiary of having Puka and Cooper, and then those 2 guys get covered and he shines. Without anyone else on the field, he is looking pretty inefficient.
Yeah, but Kyren Williams, that dude's a superstar. You're locking him into the lineup. Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody stealing work from that dude.
For sure.
I'm picking the Rams though. I don't think the Bears win this game.
I'm picking the Rams too. Like I've been the big Rams supporter on the offseason. I said they were going to be better than the Niners. It looked really rough in that first half last week, and I get both teams were hurt, and I'm like, damn, the Niners are going to take this win. The Rams are going to be 0-3, and it's going to be really hard for them to come back. And somehow they came back because they have Matt Stafford, because they have Sean McVay, and those 2 guys can win games, and I just trust them more than the shitty Bears offensive coach and, unfortunately, Caleb Williams right now.
You don't trust Shane Waldron?
No. Get that guy out of town. Get this dude a legitimate coach, dude. Like,
yeah.
Don't drop the ball on Caleb Williams. Like, fucking, you need to take this opportunity and run with it.
They'll bring in Doug Peterson next year.
Oh, but that rookie, his first year with Doug Peterson would be amazing.
Next up, New Orleans travels to Atlanta. Saints Falcons. Falcons 2.5-point favorites. Over under 42. I'm not starting either quarterback. I like Chris Olave this week. I like Drake London. I would start Kyle Pitts because your chances are you don't have a better option than him, but I'm not comfortable. I'm not as comfortable with him as you are, but that's been my case all year.
Yeah.
Darnell Mooney or Rashid Shaheed? Rashid Shaheed's bigger boom play, but Darnell Mooney's had a really good floor the last few weeks.
I would go Darnell Mooney.
I agree.
I get Shaheed. He goose egg, so we're like, oh, we're taking a hot hand. No, I'm taking the guy that's been on the field for 95% of the snaps, 100% of the snaps, and 93% of the snaps. He had 8 targets last week, 8 receptions. He's always on the field, which means he's going to get targeted. And then it doesn't help that, it helps that Kirk Cousins loves this guy. He loves his number 2 option. Drake London's always going to be covered, obviously. He's the number 1 threat. And then Darnell Mooney's open. Like, Darnell Mooney's a really good receiver. Unfortunately, he had a really shitty fucking quarterback in Chicago. Justin Fields could not get this man the ball. So it's not going to be a problem in Atlanta. I would start Darnell Mooney.
And they're designing plays for him. Like, they're running a lot of screens to Mooney. They're getting him involved. Bijan, you're obviously starting him. He's been fine, not where you drafted him, but those are good floor numbers. I don't think those are Bijan's ceiling. And I think this offense is going to continue to get better. I said that last week when you brought it up. And I think Atlanta wins this game. I do.
I also picked Atlanta. Like you said, they're getting better and better each week. Unfortunately, they played Kansas City last week, so I get it. Like, they didn't win,
and they hung though.
It was close, dude. Like, you've seen what Atlanta can do. Kirk's gonna keep any team in the game. I trust him more than I trust Derek Carr.
Yep. You're obviously starting Alvin Kamara, though. He showed up on the injury report with a rib and hip injury, so that's something to monitor. If he's out, Chris Olave should have a great game, but I'm not starting Jamal Williams in his place.
No, Jamal Williams has been very inefficient, and if Kamara would go down, dude, that would be a huge blow to this offense, dude. Like, it flows through him a lot this season.
Like, I think if Kamara doesn't play, I think that's like a huge blow to Atlanta too. Like, I don't think they're going to have to put up a ton of work in it. It's going to hurt their fantasy output from a fantasy perspective. It wouldn't hurt him.
It would help Bijan.
Probably.
It would help Bijan.
Yeah. So we're both taking Atlanta here. San Francisco, they face New England, home game for the Niners. 10.5-point favorites. Over under a 40.5. My start of the week was Brock Purdy. I'm also chasing Juwan Jennings again. I don't expect him to put up that 40 burger or whatever he put up last week, but I think Juwan Jennings is a good play this week. I'm also comfortably locking in Brandon Ayuk. I know Ayuk managers are scared, but he had no training camp. He came in a little out of shape. He got paid. Like, that stuff happens. Give him a few weeks, and it's going to turn around. I think he's a great trade for candidate. If your Ayuk managers aren't happy, I would see what they're looking to get for him. But like, I would trade, like, if I had Drake London, I think I would trade him for Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, probably. Ayuk had 10 targets last week. Like, it's only going to get better for Ayuk for sure. Like, he was my start of the week 2 weeks ago. Like, I'm not going to turn my back on Ayuk now. I had him over Debo in my rankings. Like, he's that kind of receiver.
Speaking of
whenever
Debo,
he gets healthy,
he was practicing today.
He was limited today.
Great news for the Niners. So he was expected to miss a few weeks. So I don't think he's going to play this week.
I still think he sits. Yeah,
I would expect him back next week though. I think Jordan Mason's a great play. He's not going to get you the passing work. He's not Christian McCaffrey, but he's been great between the tackles. If George Kittle plays, you're playing him. I didn't hear if he practiced in full today. I know he was limited, but I don't expect him to play either.
He was limited again today in practice.
Just based off the opponent. Like, I think if this was like the Cardinals or the Seahawks, I think Kittle plays.
I agree. Like, I think Debo and Kittle both sit again this week, and then they got New England next week. I think both might be back for that week, but again, they might not need to be back that week. Like, San Fran is really looking at this season as, we're just getting to the playoffs.
Get to the playoffs.
We're gonna win these games that we know we're gonna win. There was a report that came out from someone, I forget who it was, that they think McCaffrey's gonna miss another month or two, and that sets him back. He's gonna miss this whole like the whole fantasy season pretty much. Like, Jordan Mason is going to start 10 weeks, and whoever got Jordan Mason on waivers week 1 had lucked in to literally the first pick of the draft. Like, they looked in.
Yeah.
He's not getting the catch work that McCaffrey get, but he's getting 100 yards every game. Like, he's a lock-in at running back start. Jordan Mason's been killing it. Every week he's a starting running back, and no McCaffrey, I'm locking that guy in.
We're not playing anyone from New England, right? Ramondre. I would try to bench Ramondre if I could. Like, I don't want to play him. He had a bad game against the Jets, and I can't see it getting any better versus the Niners.
He did have a really, really bad game, but he had a really good game versus Seattle, and they're a really good run defense too. So I could see it going either way. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Ramondre had a decent game, just because somehow if New England's going to get an offense, it has to go through Ramondre. Like, it's not going to be the receivers or the passing work. It's going to be Ramondre. And it's going to be hard, but he might luck into like a 2-yard touchdown.
So you treating Ramondre like Garrett Wilson and
yeah,
the other person we brought up, who's Johnny Taylor.
I would rather start Ramondre in my flex over Jordan Reed.
Okay. I would go with Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed, my bad.
Yeah, it's not Jordan Reed. I don't want to start him. He hasn't played football in
I always
a long
get
time.
him and Jaden Daniels mixed up. It's all J and R's and D's. And...
San Fran's win this game, right? We're both picking the Niners.
Yeah, San Fran's winning this game for sure.
Arizona, they host the Washington Commanders. An over-under of 50. Cardinals are 3.5-point favorites. I think you're starting almost every viable piece on both sides.
You're starting Daniels, James. You're starting Robinson, you're starting McLaurin. You're possibly even starting Zach Ertz.
I would start revenge game, baby.
It is a revenge game, but he's finished tight end 10, 8, and 16. Like he's
ugly,
really close to a tight end 1 every single week.
Revenge game for Cliff Kingsbury, too. You know he's got to be...
Yes, sir.
He's salivating at the chance to play his old team. And you're starting Marv. He's a top 15 wide receiver this year. You're starting James Conner, my start of the week. Keep an eye on Michael Wilson. Like his first 2 weeks wasn't involved.
He's literally the guy I'm looking at right now. And
then this past week, 8 grabs on 9 targets.
9 targets, 8 grabs, 64 yards. Washington wide receiver 28.
Can't stop anybody in the passing game. Kyler Murray, he could be QB1 this week.
Yeah.
I think this game is going to be fun. I think this would be a great fantasy game. I can't wait to see Jaden Daniels versus Kyler Murray. Kind of glad this is in the 4 o'clock spot because it'll get a little more time on the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, super excited. I'm going to pick the Cardinals, but I love the options in this game. Bad defenses, great offenses.
I'm a quick jump back to Michael Wilson. He's played 80% of the snaps week 1, 70 week 2, and then 90 week 3. And week 3 was his big breakout game. And you brought up that Washington is really, really bad at stopping the pass. And then even after Washington, Arizona has San Fran and Green Bay. All of these are green matchups for receivers. Michael Wilson is he's a decent roster. This guy. He's got
to have big games here. We brought that up early into when we were doing our divisional previews that he's got to have big games here before Zay Jones gets back, or Zay Jones is going to kind of sneak his way into this lineup and phase him out because they're similar style players.
Yep.
Like I don't think Greg Dortch gets too affected, but I don't think Greg Dortch is really worth rostering at this point. Like maybe here and there he can get you PPR points if one of those guys goes down. But yeah, keep an eye on Michael Wilson. Trey McBride's another, especially he's looking like he's not going to play.
I was just about to ask, did he practice? He did not practicing.
He did not practice today, so he's really got to get a practice. He's got a concussion, so with no McBride, that really is going to open things up for. So maybe Dortch is an okay emergency break glass in case start, but I think Michael Wilson could be a good play if McBride's out. Even if he's not, he should be rostered or just keep an eye on him. Like if he goes out and does this again, gets 8 targets or 8 catches. He needs to be picked up.
Yeah, it would be hard for me to start Greg Dortch, but I would comfortably, if I have to, start Michael Wilson in a flex, but definitely roster him. He had great performance last week. I'm picking Washington. I'm really high on Washington. I get both these teams have horrendous defenses. They can't stop shit for shit. But Jaden Daniels has looked so efficient, dude. And so is Kyler. He's looked good, obviously, but Jaden Daniels is looking every bit as good as a second pick of the draft should look like.
Yeah, I get
Caleb isn't. What's up?
Rookie quarterback should always sit, or at least but Jaden Daniels got a ton of college experience. Like he played for years, so he's got experience coming in, more experience than Caleb. I think if you're gonna play a rookie quarterback, make sure it's one of those guys who played a ton. Brock Purdy played a ton in college.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes it a little easier for a transition. For a rookie, I'm with you now. I think rookie quarterbacks should just be sitting a year. I think it's a blessing in disguise that JJ McCarthy got hurt, forcing him to miss a whole season.
100%, dude.
I thought that would be the case with Anthony Richardson as well, but he's still a rookie. He's played no football in his career.
He didn't get. Yeah, I agree. Jaden Daniels has played 3 or 4 times the amount of games Anthony Richardson has played.
Yeah, played college with Brandon Ayuk.
And Anthony Richardson's played a year in the NFL. He didn't play. He obviously hurt. But Jaden Daniels is just he looks so good. He's not throwing incompletions. He doesn't make mistakes, and that's what he did in college. Dude, he had a 40-4 season. If you have a season where you're throwing 4 interceptions and 40 tutties, that's crazy, dude.
And he's even making the Washington offensive line look better. Washington's line's not great, but Jaden Daniels is so efficient as a passer and a runner that he's made the line look passable. Whereas they should still be going out and getting a franchise left tackle in the offseason, but it might not be as pressing of a need as, replacing Emmanuel Forbes at this point.
I agree. They needed a whole new offensive line just to get Jaden Daniels more protection. But Eckler not playing this game sucks, dude. That breaks my heart. This guy's in a full-blown conversation going on behind me. Dead air time. Great audio.
I got a sick cat.
Good God. Sick cat.
She could have waited till after the podcast. Okay. Arizona. Yeah, that's my pick. Jaden Daniels, superstar.
Picking Washington.
Yeah. Game of the week. Kansas City Chiefs at the Chargers. Not the game of the week. Justin Herbert. I haven't heard anything. I don't think he's going to play.
I also don't think he's going to play.
Yeah, and if he doesn't play, there's no chance for the Chargers. I'm not starting any Charger. No running back, no receiver. Chiefs,
He-
Rashi Rice, superstar.
Herbert he put in another limited practice, so he is out there limited.
He might try and play. He's a tough
He
dude.
plays
and
through everything, dude.
That'll get John Harbaugh rock hard.
He always is, dude. He sees Herbert out there. He's already fucking 6-12 right away, dude.
Yeah.
But I think Herbert actually suits up. Looking at he is limited in practice. It's a huge division game. The Chargers are 2-1. The Chiefs are 3-0. If the Chargers pull this out, they're tied for first. Yeah. I think Herbert's out there on Sunday.
Maybe, but I'm starting Rashi Rice. He probably the
oh my god, dude!
You're starting Travis Kelce too, but
he's have to start Kelce. But mark my words, Kelce will be back. It's not going to be like this all season.
Yeah, I agree.
Cannot be like this.
No, I think they're saving him. I think they're saving him for that big stretch run. Honestly, a busy off season.
I was going to say, he had a huge, busy offseason with Taylor. He's in a TV show now on FX. Like, he's going.
I know how much that work. I know how much the work that is. And we just work 40 hours a week. This dude's a professional football player.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, our podcast is a rinky-dink podcast. He's got $1 million podcast now on Amazon. So he's a busy dude who's traveling the country with Taylor Swift. Yeah. The world with Taylor Swift. So, like, I think Kelce gets healthy or in shape, per se, very quick, very soon. Next
if you can get Travis Kelce, if the Travis Kelce owners fed up with him, get him. Like, I would trade Trey McBride for Travis Kelce. I would
trade any tight end in football right now for Travis Kelce. 100%. Except, I have Jake Ferguson, and that would be a rough pull.
Brock Bowers? I wouldn't trade Brock Bowers.
I would trade Brock Bowers. I would not. I would. I don't trust Vegas at this point.
That's fair. Chargers, though, are you starting anybody for them? Anyone?
Nope.
No, me either.
None of them. J.K. Dobbins would be the only guy I would consider in the flex.
Okay. Rashi Rice, Travis Kelce. You starting Worthy? I'm not.
In the flex. In the flex if I need. I'm not. I don't want to, but if I need to.
I would start Jaden Reed over Xavier Worthy.
Yes, I agree to that. But I think Worthy is one of those guys, if I have to start anybody, I'm comfortable starting him over a lot of people just based off his touchdown upside.
What about the alligator man, Carson Steele?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Kareem Hunt's back.
I think Kareem Hunt affects Samaje Perine more than it does Carson Steele.
I think it all affects them all. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets activated next week or 2 weeks. When Clyde gets back
next week, that's when you really got to start figuring out, like, that's going to get real lucky.
I'm not worried about
Kareem Hunt at all.
I've never seen a four-headed backfield work so I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. If anyone could, it's Andy Reid for sure.
You're going to start Patrick Mahomes, but man,
are you?
I think just from name, I think because of name you're going to start. I would start Brock Purdy over him, and I would start your start of the week Geno Smith over him, and that sounds crazy. Like I think Patrick Mahomes has a minimal ceiling at this point.
It's their offense.
Too efficient, yeah. Then they're going to win this game. I think they're going to
win. Since week 8 of last year, he's been a top 10 QB once.
Yeah,
that was
crazy
week 12 versus Las Vegas of last season, where he finished QB 8. He didn't even finish in the top 5. He was QB 8.
Yeah. It's so insane.
I get we have to start Mahomes, but he's not really fantasy relevant anymore.
Lower your expectations. You're not going to get that huge big game Patrick Mahomes every week. Those are the rarities now.
I have him in one of our dynasty leagues that we're in, and I'm probably going to try to move him in the offseason just to see what I can get.
Yeah, I like that. Cleveland Browns at the Las Vegas Raiders in the disgusting game of the week. Over under of 37. The Raiders are 1.5 point favorites. Have they said what they're doing with their quarterback yet? I heard there could be a change, but I haven't heard anything official yet.
Gardner Minshew is going to start, but Antonio Pierce did come out and say that he's not looking away from a quarterback change. So if Minshew, I think, ends up shitting the bed at halftime, I think
Aiden O'Connell.
I think O'Connell comes in at half, I think.
So this two great defenses. Cleveland's defense still
great
defenses. So good. Deshaun Watson is washed. He's done. That dude can't throw. He's noodle arm, and he's not athletic enough anymore to get past the line's terrible in Cleveland. Like, either they got to address the quarterback in the offseason look at putting Jameis in this year if they want to stand a chance to win, because Deshaun Watson's not doing that. I'm not just saying that because Deshaun Watson is a despicable human being. I'm saying that because at this point he's a despicable football player.
No, he's a trash human being, and we won't talk about any type of stuff that he's done. But the Giants beat the Browns, and the Browns have an elite defense. So what's the problem here? It's your inefficient offense that can't score versus the Giants. The Giants have a good pass rush. We're fine. We're not great, but our secondary isn't that great. We have Banks at corner. We need another corner. Our safeties are young, and the Watson couldn't do shit versus the Giants, dude. Like, come on, dude.
Good game, though. He was finding Cooper.
Well, hey, yo, I'm not saying Cooper's great. Amari Cooper's amazing.
Amari Cooper's top 5 in targets in the NFL this year. He's an easy lock start for this team, and that's it. Like, maybe Jerome Ford, but like he's banged up now with a knee injury, so like it could be more of a split with him and Foreman this week. That like I'm not like I would play Ford in the flex, but I would try to find a way out of playing Jerome Ford if I could.
I'm cool starting Ford in the flex. He had 10 points last week. He played in 75.
Ford 70, or Ramondre?
Ramondre.
Okay. I agree.
Ramondre. I think he has just a little bit better ceiling. Ford's just the Browns offense is rough.
I think Ramondre could score a touchdown.
I'm cool.
I don't think
I'm
Jerome
cool with
Ford
Cooper
can.
Here.
That's it. That's it for me.
Back this week.
He's questionable, but I'm not trusting him his first week.
He practiced. He practiced today. So keep an eye on him. I'd
once
wait
he's
back though, I'd start him.
Yeah.
Just the way tight ends are. Like tight ends haven't been anything great. So once Njoku is back, put him in.
Yeah, speaking of tight ends, you're starting Brock Bowers, Devontae Adams. What about Jacoby Myers? He had a nice game last week, had a touchdown, a couple grabs. He had a top 10 wide receiver finish in PPR.
My worry is Trey Tucker's out there though.
Trey Tucker also had a great game.
Like, wide receiver eight last week.
I think Myers was above him though.
Was he?
I could have swore Myers was like wide receiver 6.
Wide receiver 9.
9. Okay. Well, both top 10.
Back to back.
That's wild. I'd keep an eye on both those guys. I think Myers has more of an upside in the offense. I think he's going to play more, especially if Aiden O'Connell becomes quarterback. I just think Aiden O'Connell is now a way better quarterback than Gardner Minshew at this point for this team. Like I said, I was worried if O'Connell came in. I was worried about Brock Bowers. I'm not anymore. I think Vegas is better off with Aiden O'Connell. Gardner Minshew, it's just not working here. The run game's terrible. Like I'm not starting Zamir White. I'm not starting Alexander Madison. I'm starting Bowers. I'm starting Adams. If I'm desperate, I'll start Jacoby Myers. And that's it.
I also trust Myers more than Trey Tucker, but Trey Tucker being out there just concerns me a little bit for Myers.
Big play. How much of it was like just being down so much in garbage time stuff?
A lot, because that's the kind of receiver he is. He's a huge big play kind of guy. But I think O'Connell coming in, I think he just has a better like rapport with these guys.
Yeah, he was there last year.
Obviously, Devontae Adams wants him in. Like he is the guy. And I think that trickles down to every other receiver in that room too. I think Devontae leads by example. We want O'Connell, and it's not I want O'Connell, and it's we want O'Connell in. And I think Brock Bowers falls right in line with the receivers because he's that kind of receiver.
I also want O'Connell in.
I agree. And at this point, it's not going to hurt the run game. It can only make it better. No. The run game is horrendous, dude.
Put Gardner Minshew in that list of guys who should be backup quarterbacks and fill in for starters.
I think if the Raiders have a legitimate chance, you got to send Zamir White out to get the super serum that Captain America got. Like, this guy has looked legitimately terrible, and he needs some type of antibiotic steroid or something to get this guy going.
Better get on the juice.
That's right. I don't often condone using steroids, but Zamir White, man, they might not test.
Buy some sterile pee on the internet, brother.
God damn it, dude, you looking horrendous out there.
Who you picking here?
I'm picking Cleveland.
I agree. Better defense. Myles Garrett.
Exactly.
Hey, Max Crosby. He's been banged up though. Like Myles Garrett also said he needs surgery on like 4 body parts, but that dude's
he'll get it.
He's something else. Sunday Night Football. The Bills travel to Baltimore. Finally, what should be a tough matchup for Buffalo. We can see how good they are. I think they're good.
I'm excited.
Ravens are 2.5 point favorites over under 46.5. Josh Allen has been a superstar. as expected. QB1 right now. Khalil Shakir's getting involved. Dalton Kincaid's getting involved in the first half, and then Buffalo just gains a lead, and then he phased out. Oh, gone. So I'm not worried about Kincaid.
It's crazy that he's QB1. Like, he had a game where he had 13 points.
Yeah, that's Thursday night against. Yeah, but he's got like two.
But
huge
those
games.
other two games are crazy. He almost had 50 points last week. He had 42 or something like that versus Jacksonville. Because Jacksonville's not a real team. I get it.
Baltimore can't stop the pass, though, brother.
Oh no! I'm all in on Josh Allen. Obviously this week. Every week.
I'm comfortable with Khalil Shakir, my flex this week.
Yeah.
I guess I would take a shot on Keon Coleman, but he seems to be in every other kind of pattern. So he scored a touchdown this week. I don't know if that happens this week against Baltimore.
His touchdown was his only catch though, and his only target. So I'm not.
Well, he was also suspended for the first quarter because he was late to a team. He was late for a team meeting. He was suspended first quarter on Monday night. He didn't play.
I didn't hear that. What is this, college? Yeah. We're suspending people for quarters?
Yeah. Sean McDermott didn't let him play like the first quarter of the game.
I've never heard anything more NCAA in my life. Oh, he missed a couple classes, so he can't play.
Yep.
This is the NFL, brother.
Didn't play. He should have been on time. Should have been on time. 5 minutes early, you're still late.
Cool, then make him take the guys out to dinner for wasting their time. You don't make him miss a call.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Allen got that due to touchdown out of spite. Like, still getting him a touchdown. I don't care.
I mean, he was literally handing out touchdowns versus the Jacksonville defense.
How do you feel about James Cook, though? You're obviously going to play him, but Baltimore's been pretty good against stopping the run, so it's going to be a passing game involvement for him, and I'm comfortable with him in the passing game. He catches passes, like he's capable of doing that.
They love using him in the passing game, and he had 5 targets last week because he's capable of it. Week 2, he only had 1. So a Cook can fluctuate between a pure runner and a pure passing catch guy. So, like, I'm not worried about Cook regardless of the game plan. And he's getting tutties this year, dude. Like, Cook's a lock for sure every single week.
You're comfortable with Kincaid because of the position scarcity. How do you feel about Shakir?
No.
I like Shakir this week.
Shakir's been double digits every week, and last week was his best week. So
he's the one. He's the wide receiver 1 there.
He's the one, but it doesn't really matter too much. Last week was a really good week, though. Like, I'm cool with Shakir this week.
Baltimore standpoint, Zay Flowers, you playing him? Buffalo's defense has been pretty good. Like, for
Buffalo's defense has been great for losing everybody.
Yeah, like Damar Hamlin had an interception. Trevor Lawrence, first player in NFL history to throw an interception to a dead guy.
Like, Zay Flowers had a ton of targets week 1 and 2. 10 targets week 1, 11 week 2. He only had 4 week 3. And Dallas's defense has been pretty good versus the pass. Like, they're a red defense in the metrics. They just can't stop the run. They're the worst run stopping defense in football. But Zay Flowers, you know how I feel about Zay. Like, he's a flex guy, I think, most of the time.
Flowers or Shakir?
Fuck. Flowers. Flowers. I'll go Flowers.
Okay. Shakir or Jaden Reed?
Shakir.
Okay. Because you said you
very
take
close
Flowers over Reed. Back when we talked about Green Bay. Okay. Baltimore, though, it's really like, what are you doing about Mark Andrews?
He looked really bad last week. Like, really, really bad. And he only played on 33% of snaps.
Yeah, and then, like, Harbaugh
he had 1 target for no know
Yeah, I don't know if you heard 33%. Harbaugh. He was just like, there's going to be weeks where that happens, is what he said.
What does that mean, Hardball?
That makes me incredibly worried that Mark Andrews is just not going to be a reliable option at this point anymore. That tells me, like, he's banged up. Something's wrong. If he's not banged up, these games are going to happen.
I hold him in the same category as Isaiah Likely now. Like, they're the same. Like, Isaiah Likely has played in 33% of snaps every single game. His low is 50%. And even last week, he still only had 1 target, just like Andrews did, and he pulled it in. But, like, 1 target for no catches or 1 target for 1 catch and 4 yards, the difference is 1.4 points.
Yeah,
that's it. That's not a huge difference.
Like, I'd be more worried, I'd be more comfortable if, like, Harbaugh said, like, oh, these games are going to happen, and Isaiah Likely had a big game.
Yeah, I agree.
So, like, I don't know. I'm shying away from both Baltimore tight ends. I I really don't want
agree.
any involvement in the passing game. I'm obviously going to start Lamar. Like, I want Lamar.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, for
Derrick
sure.
Henry is always a lock. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost out on Mark Andrews to the point where I would try to move him.
And see, that's what you'd have to do. You'd have to move him. But the problem is that every other tight end is just as
Also-
fucking bad this year, except like Jake Ferguson. So like, I don't know, dude. Like, I'm not cutting him. I'm starting him just because I drafted him to start, and I probably don't have a backup tight end, to be honest. Oh my god, the Giants cannot stop the Cowboys. They just scored a fucking 60-yard touchdown. This is embarrassing. Fucking down 14-6 already. Oof. Good God, sorry. I've been watching the game a little bit distracted. That was a CD touchdown, by the way.
Rico Dowdle scored, baby. Started him in a money league.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring it up during the podcast, but now we're just getting, that was a crazy play. CD blew us up. Andrews, you're watching him. Like, I'm starting him this week. And then, God forbid, he has another game where he's on the field less than 50% of the plays. Get that guy out of there. Get that guy. I'll cut him next week if I have to. I'm not cutting him yet.
Who wins this game?
The Bills.
The Bills. You think they? Yeah,
The
I
Bills.
agree.
The Bills
I
have
think
looked too good.
I think this is a statement game for Buffalo. Prove that you're there. Like, I can't wait to see them play Kansas City.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
well, they'll play this year. They were both first place last year.
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying it's good. I don't know when it happens.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
can
Off the top of my
obviously
head.
find out. But Baltimore, I think Baltimore is going to be really dangerous. Obviously, they do not play Kansas City.
No, they both finished in first. They should be playing.
No, Miami finished in first.
No, November 17th.
That was not on the schedule. I just looked at their schedule. Oh no, I lied. Week 11.
Yeah. Baltimore. If they fall to 1-3, does that worry you?
I mean, a little bit, just because Pittsburgh is probably going to be 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if Baltimore and Pittsburgh end up playing, I think it's Baltimore. I think it's 50-50 either way.
Baltimore could beat them. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Baltimore's had a real tough schedule to start here.
Horrendous.
Except the Raiders, which they should have won. I don't know what happened. Baltimore can't close a game. Their fourth quarter defense is horrible.
Baltimore in the fourth quarter, they like turn the lights off.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck happens to that team.
They're playing 3 quarters. They're done. They're playing hockey.
Well, they're fucking playing Giants football.
Yeah, playing hockey. All right. 2 Monday night games again this week. One of them, it's a dud. Tennessee at Miami. Miami is a 1-point favorite at home, an over-under of 36.5. I hear Tyler Huntley is starting this game for the Miami Dolphins.
That's what I hear.
Which makes me way more comfortable starting Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
You have to start Tyreek regardless, but Waddle's a flex guy at this point with no Tua. Huntley, though, is a better option than any of the fucking trash
and
they're trying to
Skylar
put
Thompson
out there.
And Tim Boyle.
Yeah. Mostert playing?
He was limited in practice today, so I'm not sure. I would lean that he doesn't play. Okay. Tennessee's defense has been pretty good, but Tennessee's offense is a masterpiece of disaster, and I love it.
A turnover machine.
Like Will Levis, there's times where Levis has looked great this year, and then he fucking shits the ball out of his ass and fumbles. Like
he's averaging like 3 turnovers a game, dude. Yeah. Like he's horrendous.
He's on pace for 43 turnovers this season, which would be an NFL record. The NFL record's 36 by Brett.
Their head coach will not let that happen. He will literally have a hit put out on Will Levis if this keeps happening.
But does benching Will Levis
that fucking guy?
Benching Will Levis doesn't help this team,
and that's why it hasn't happened.
Help Will Levis. So like I think he's going to play all year.
Like the benching of Will Levis, it would have happened already if they could have. Like they hate this guy.
You want to see what Mason Rudolph has? We've seen what Mason Rudolph has.
Exactly. Like Will Levis has looked really good when teams aren't blitzing him. Teams know to blitz him, obviously. Because
Miami doesn't get great pass rush, so this could be a good Will Levis game.
I'm not gonna say it's a good Will Levis game because he's gonna have 3 turnovers regardless of what happens out there on Sunday. But he has a chance to have 2 touchdowns. Monday they played 2 Mondays. He has a chance to put up 2 touchdowns for sure. I like Ridley. I also like Hopkins this week. Hopkins looked healthy last week.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as that dude's healthy, he's almost quarterback proof. He always has been his whole career. And Will Levis is the kind of guy that can just get him a deep ball. And that's Hopkins is great.
Yeah. I'll start Tony Pollard this week as well.
For sure.
Achan's a lock. Other than that, it's pretty
Tyreek.
set in stone. Yeah, Tyreek.
I'm
Huntley
cool with
gives me
Waddle on the
confidence.
flex.
Huntley gives me confidence to play both those guys and just be fine and not close my eyes and be like, oh my God, I got to rely on Skylar Thompson. Tyler Huntley he's a pro quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking the Dolphins.
Picking.
I don't know.
I'm picking Tennessee.
Oh no, I'm gonna pick the Dolphins. I'm picking the Dolphins. I think Tyler Huntley's a good quarterback. A good enough quarterback. He falls in that backup list. If your backup gets hurt, Tyler Huntley goes to your team.
No, I agree.
The more exciting Monday night game, though, Seattle at Detroit. Detroit's 3.5-point home favorites, over under 46. Geno Smith, your start of the week. DK Metcalf's always a lock. JSN, my start of the week. I think he's going to be great this week.
Mm-hmm.
You're obviously Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, if he's out there, you're playing him. Gibbs and Montgomery. It's really like Jameson Williams. You playing him this week? Flex spot?
I'm cool in the flex. JMO. He's had way bigger ceilings. I trust the offense way more, especially with Goff out there.
Jared Goff hasn't been great.
Well, no, but I'm saying I trust him over Malik Willis. But
what if Jordan Love plays, though?
No, if Jordan Love plays, I would go Jaden Reed.
Okay.
Jaden Reed was wide receiver 1 with Love. I don't think he's going to do that Love's first game back, but the ceiling's there.
Okay.
Laporta didn't practice at all today, so I think that helps. I think that helps JMO.
So he had a low ankle sprain. So I'd be surprised if he misses the game, but who knows? Like, teams are being pretty.
He got hurt once, came back, and then got hurt again.
Yeah.
So I could see him missing this week. Just take the week off and rest. I get it's a huge Monday night versus Seattle. Seattle's 3-0, dude. Like, they're good.
It's a good football team. I think Noah Fant's also a sleepy tight end. I'm a sleepy tight end.
Yeah, he's sleepy because he doesn't show the fuck up every game.
Hey, 6 targets last week. I'd keep an eye on him though. Like, I think he could get more involvement here going forward if you're desperate for a tight end play. Like, hey, say you have Sam Laporta. You can if it's a Monday game, Noah Fant's probably out there on your market. I think I would play him over Jonnu Smith or Chigakonkwo.
Noah Fant is truly, truly amazing. Week 1 and 2, he was on the field for 80% of the snaps. Dog shit performances both weeks. Week 3, he had 6 targets for 6 catches, 60 yards, 666, number of the beast, by the way. He was only on the field for 40% of the snaps. That's half the snaps, double the catches. How does that even happen?
Football's a wild thing, brother.
Fuck?
Seattle's backfield, tough plays. Detroit's really good at stopping the run, but I think you're going to play Charbonnet
You're starting
or Walker
whoever starts.
Charbonnet pass work.
Amazing.
He finally had an efficient running game. Yeah, he looked really good.
He averaged over 5 a clip. He had 18 for 91, 2 tutties, 4 targets, 3 catches. He's going to be used even if Walker's not. If Walker plays, he ended up with a tutty week 1 when Walker was on the field and healthy. Charbonnet had a tutty week 2. He had a touchdown week 3. He's a touchdown guy. With Walker, I'm still starting confidently whichever one starts as a running back. And if Walker does play, I'm still starting Charbonnet this week.
Okay. I think Detroit wins this game, though. I think Seattle falls.
I agree.
Unfortunately, I want to pick Seattle.
I think both these quarterbacks are going to have huge games. Like, I'm always
Philly
out here
say
picking
that every
Jared
week
Goff.
about Jared Goff, and then he doesn't have a huge game.
Hey, man, you knew how high I was on Jared Goff going into this. I had him as a top 10 quarterback. I just think all these games line up for him to have huge ceilings.
So in one of our off leagues, like it's a home league per se, but it's not like an important home league. It's more for like anyone we don't allow into our serious home league. We do this league. I had Jared Goff and I had Tua, and I've just now had to start Goff. I picked up Sam Darnold, and I'm starting Sam Darnold over Jared Goff.
I get it. But I do like Jared Goff a lot. He's got obviously amazing talent around him, but they are running a ton. Like, both these running backs are getting tons of carries. So
yeah, Montgomery and Gibbs are doing work, and they're both scoring. Gibbs got that weird touchdown, but Montgomery's scoring every week.
Oh yeah, both are locks regardless of the running back position.
There we go. Week 4 previews in the books. Drafted Up Podcast, you know where to find us. Twitter, @DraftedUp_pod, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Search Drafted Up Podcast. We'll be there. Like, rate, subscribe, review, share, all that good stuff. We always appreciate it. Thank you guys as always for listening.
Where will we be? You didn't tell me to be somewhere.
Where are we going to be?
Up?
Where do you want to go?
I don't know. You told them we're going to be there. You didn't tell me I'm going to be anywhere.
I said Apple, YouTube, and Spotify.
You said we're going to be there. I didn't. I have to go to Apple headquarters.
Yeah, we're in the internet box.
Damn, we're in the cloud, brother.
How are you guys in that little screen there? I see you on the little screen. How'd you guys get in my computer box?
Adam Thielen? Is that you?
He's got a lot of free time with his injury.
That is true.
All right, guys. Thanks as always for listening. We appreciate it. We'll see you here next week with recaps.
Yep, week 4 recap, and then week
Thursday
5
night.
Thursday
night preview. We're gonna remember this time.
Maybe.
I don't even know who's playing.
Maybe.
All right, guys.
Tampa Bay, Atlanta next Thursday.
Oh, we also got a London game next week.
Yep.
Minnesota and the Jets.
Gross. I hate London games. 9:30 starts.
Same. Agree. Disgusting. All right, guys. Drafted Up Podcast. Adios.
Yep. Adios. Tell a friend. Bye.